introduction as to
Yeah.
you and everything.
I'm Jay Ryder. Work with Brody quite a bit on a number of things. I have a background in management consulting and strategy for businesses. So I work with a lot of small businesses on how do they ultimately develop their strategy, how do they practically implement it, and make it work for them, ultimately hitting their 3 to 5 year goals. But that's kind of why Brody and I have worked together, especially as what we're going to talk about AI today, is how do you make your business more efficient and make your life a lot easier. So hopefully pulling you out of the weeds to make your business fun again. So that's what I mean.
Yeah. Test. I don't think I've ever used one of these things. This is gonna be really odd. So I do want to say too. So Jared is really my organizational half. I like to come up with random ideas and just a bunch of random stuff, and then Jared goes, "Calm down, Brody. This is what we actually need to be doing." So I just thank you so much, Jared. Jared's going to be here as well for questions, a lot of the high level side of things as well. So we're going to be going through that, asking different things. So he's going to be very involved in this. Just to get started, so my name is Brody. I'm with Integrity Marketing, Integrity Connect, Integrity Technologies. Today, what we're going to be really focusing on, again, is the chats, the AI agents, and then the custom workflows, because what we're trying to do is go throughout your entire business. We'll get into this a little bit, but when people talk about AI, what we found is they're talking about AI, right? Like it's like this thing that's like out there, and it is, it really is. So what we're going to do today is kind of go through that, just to kind of give you guys my background. We started Integrity Marketing in 2021. What we've done throughout that time is build websites, social media development, just all the way along the marketing spectrum. And then it moved into AI. As we saw that continue to progress, we've been able to onboard, we've got 2 developers, we've got a team of 9 total that we kind of just get everything ready to go. So just kind of want to do that introduction. And I know we talked already with some of the things that you guys wanted us to focus on. So we'll make sure that we get to that. But throughout this conversation, just if you have a question, raise your hand. Let's have a discussion. If that's okay with you guys. Sweet. All right. Okay. So yeah, we're good. So AI isn't one thing. Plot twist. We know that. So AI, everybody talks about it as like this crazy thing that's out there, right? What AI ultimately is just a system with like guidelines, basically, right? So each one, like we were talking about, like how many of you guys use ChatGPT? Right? How many of you guys use Claude? How many of you guys use Perplexity? How many of you guys use Gemini? Okay, you see where I'm going with this, right? There's so many different ones. But what we found with this and what we do is we like to break things. We give it to our team and then we break stuff. But so each one has a very specific use case. Claude is insane for development. It is crazy for development. It also just integrated in Claude Design, which has beautiful graphics. Like if you're trying to do graphic stuff, Claude is amazing. It truly is. But then if you're trying to do an image, Claude is not great. You're gonna get mad at me if you went into Claude and tried to do an image. ChatGPT is the best image model right now. And again, I'm saying right now, tomorrow it could change. You guys, we all know that. It's very quick with those things. And then Perplexity is for search, and then Gemini is for Google products, and then Copilot is for Microsoft Pilot. So the thing I want you guys to know is each one does different things, right? So, and a lot of them have free tools. So like ChatGPT is a free option, Perplexity is a free option. I don't know if Claude does, but what I'm saying is I would have all of them up, and we do, for different use cases. That's gonna be a big thing as we continue to go through here. So most people, and this is what we were kind of looking at, most people feel overwhelmed because they try to evaluate AI as a single all or nothing decision. We get a lot of people that come to us and say, hey, I need AI in my business. It's like, okay, well, what does your business process look like? Like what are those things? And we're gonna talk through that today, but the first discussion that we should always be having with ourselves is not, I need AI, but like what systems am I doing and what processes are in place that I'm doing over and over again or can be optimized. Then we go to AI, not AI first. Okay, does that make sense? Because it helps too, because you can look at the problem that you have. Like if I know I got to do an image generator thing, I'm going to be with ChatGPT versus a Claude. That makes sense, right? So just narrowing down that discussion. And what we always tell our clients is basically go on a walk. Think about what that ideal process is, go on a walk, think through those things, and then we can pinpoint the different AI solutions to fill in the gaps. Does that make sense? Okay, sweet. So quick gut check. So we know you guys have used ChatGPT. Who has an AI agent on their, or a chat widget on their website? We'll get this added. Yeah. Okay, and these are things, so, and again, just things to think about. I'm not like, I don't want anything to be like, hey, you don't have this on your website. We don't have an AI thing on our website right now because I don't want people to reach out to me yet. But like, just, you know, when we're doing this stuff, that's gonna be the big thing. How many of you guys have AI, like, first of all, how many of you guys have a CRM system for clients? So CRM system is a customer relationship management system. So Lisa, like, for instance, somebody buys from you. I think it goes into Square right now. You've got their emails. That is gold. Emails are gold because you know as well as I do, Facebook could go, okay, the algorithm changed today. You're no longer existent. Or Google, oh, you don't exist. But if you have email services, you can reach out to them directly, especially with the counties. I mean, you guys could do some awesome stuff with that. Like genuinely just educational information, I think would be very huge there, but then just keeping that list. And you guys probably have like an internal thing, but that's what we're talking about with customer relationship management tool. And so when I talk about AI in those things, is setting up automations and kind of it guides within there. So like, let's say that somebody came to my website and I had a chat widget that powers to my CRM, or an AI agent, it will make decisions based off what that customer kind of came to you with. We'll dive into that a little bit more, but I just kind of wanted to get a feel for some of this stuff. So these are some stats, and I'll send you guys this presentation, but 93% of small businesses using AI report a positive business impact. It's really funny that it says that because we've actually done a lot of research recently. So not only this is, yes, this is helpful, but we're also seeing a flip side that a large number of companies are using AI, but they have gotten nothing done whatsoever because it turned into where, okay, well, I'm just gonna go play with ChatGPT for the next 4 hours and not a whole lot came out of it. So we always look at the system approach with AI and making sure that it kind of fills in your buckets. Does that make sense? Again, these are just kind of articulating that there are different AI for different processes for you. Okay, so this is where we're going to talk about the different aspects of it. So chat, CRM tools, and ultimately agents, okay? So we're going to break them down into 3 different things. So a chat widget, like on your website, right, is not an autonomous, not out the box. It's not an autonomous agent, which is over here, which acts on itself, right? So, hello there. The chat side of things is basically, so like a chat widget on your website, you just give it basic information, it can answer up to that capacity, and then if like, for instance, it asks a question that you don't, like they don't know, then it will divert it to the user, right? Like to the business owner itself. So you see how this is more of a one-directional thing. This is not gonna like, unless you program it, it's not going to like think the reasoning through it. It's just gonna say, okay, client asked for this service, we give them this, right? It's a very granular type thing. If then, if this, then this, right? That's what we're looking at for the chat side. Does that make sense? And you guys notice like when you go to the chat widget and then it spits out like an automatic response, that's a chat widget most of the time. Because like if you can see it thinking, then that's where we can move into the agent side of things. Does that make sense with the chat? And this is extremely helpful for workflows and all sorts of stuff. Like I would say honestly, 95% of businesses as a chat widget on your website, you don't need a full agent. I think a chat widget would be perfect because you can load in there and give it your calendar. You can load in there and say, hey, if customer says this, then respond with this, right? So just really think through the chat side because like, yes, agents are the hot new thing that everyone's talking about, There's a lot more complication with this. It's great, it works awesome. We've done some awesome stuff with it. But the chat side, I just really want you guys to kind of understand the difference between these.
So most of us don't have that, a
Mhm.
chat widget,
Yep.
all that kind of stuff on our website. So where would you suggest that a business start
Yep.
with this?
Yeah, so, okay, most CRM tools, and that's a great question. A good majority of CRM tools already have it baked into it. CRM that we offer has it baked in. MailChimp a lot of times has these type of things, constant contact. Like I would just type in CRM system with chat. I think there's like ClickFunnels that has some, there's a multitude of different ones. I would say, and we'll talk about this a little bit, don't create your own. Unless you guys have the capability to build your own, don't. I wouldn't recommend it. I would use a tool that already has this thing built out, and then you can add it to your website. That is like the easy way like to knock it out on y'all side. But if you want to move to the next level, you can custom build them, but I would just use an out of the box solution, to be honest. Jared, do you have any?
I think one thing to think about, if you're gonna create your own, it can become very expensive for you very quickly. And that's not the build portion, that's somebody could maliciously come in and start using it as their own agent. And if it's not set up properly, it has boundaries, the next thing you know, you end up with a giant bill from ChatGPT or Claude that you weren't expecting. And so that's typically what people run into. So that's why we typically tell people, hey, avoid this, unless you have good parameters or you have someone supporting you to develop it. Brody will talk a little bit more about like the workshop side of how we've helped clients build these agents in the past and put proper boundaries in so that you don't have those issues. But a lot of times with stuff out of the box.
All right. And a good example of that was we were playing with, because we built a few of these. There was a dealership, I don't know where it was throughout the United States, it was like a national thing. They had done a chat widget, and just like what Jared was talking about, somebody went in and reprogrammed the chat to say, hey, I want a new Chevy Silverado for $1,000. And the chat goes, okay, that sounds great. Confirmed it automatically. That is a scary situation, because then at that point, that customer came back and goes, okay, well, your chat widget said this. So like Jared was saying, out the box is a great way for this. There are other ways to do it, but that's the low maintenance, easy way to get you going with that. That makes sense? Sweet. Next part are CRM and tools. So natively CRM and tools is not AI at all. It's a system that you can do things. But when it becomes extremely powerful is when you can integrate AI into it. For instance, it makes decisions based off your behalf. I got a new customer that comes in, based off of that, it will go in and add it to a specific workflow, assign it to a specific client. Like go through those things, and that's where we're basically utilizing the amazing tools that you have with CRM, but then automating it with like an AI system. Just to kind of give you an example, the way that I would look at this is more along the lines of, let's say that you want like automatic social media scheduling, or you want like, let's say somebody comes in and does a review on your Facebook page, right? We can have an agent through the CRM that understands that review was done, and then it goes out and responds to that review automatically based off your brand voice. Just super high level, there's so many examples of use cases that we can do for this. Jared, do you have any, I know CRM tools is still.
I think a good example there of what makes it different from just an automation itself is an automation is going to go out, it's going to respond to that review, and it's going to provide a generic response that's consistent almost every single time. Where the AI agents can come in with that CRM tool to respond to the review, and it's be more tailored to what did that reviewee say in there, how many stars did they provide. So that way it's actually, it looks more human, maybe the appropriate way to put it. So there's a different, automations are great, and automations aren't going to go anywhere, but when you add automations with AI, that's when you can really elevate it and make it feel like it's a human interaction every time.
That's perfect, yeah. And then also, because you guys know those M dashes that are like this long that AI does every single time, that is not on our keyboard at all. You notice that? Like it's not on the keyboard and then does it. So like with agents, I train it to not do an M dash, is what it's called. So just with agents, it would be like, don't write an M dash in there. Hey, and make it sound like my brand voice. You know, you can do some really cool things with that. Okay, last section is the autonomous agent, okay? This part is very exciting, very all over the place, kind of a black box. I'm definitely gonna have Jared talk about this one because it definitely, I know enough to be dangerous. Jared has brought me back to the rails on this. But with agents, it literally can do every single thing that you can do on your computer. So like for instance, on a monthly basis, I was going through and auditing all of our websites. Why would I do that? When I could create an automatic tool that now every single month it goes out and goes through all of our client websites automatically on the first, and then gives me an automatic report. I don't have to do it anymore, right? So there are a multitude of ways to do this, okay? There's a bunch of them. Have you guys heard of Cowork? Like, so Copilot Cowork, Claude Cowork, ChatGPT Cowork. If you hear the word Cowork, that means it can take over your browser. Bless you. So that's where the gold happens, okay? It's very, the first time it took over my browser, it freaked me out, to be honest. It was kind of weird. But the way that I would look at it is stick to the out-of-the-box agents to start, right? So again, Claude Cowork, Copilot Cowork, ChatGPT Cowork, like look at those, right? Because we can technically build side agents that literally can do whatever. But I would start with the out-of-the-box solutions because one, it's gonna kind of prompt you and teach you guys how to set up your own agents. So it's not like anything too crazy with that, but also it has guardrails. So like, let's say I go to log into my QuickBooks account, it's gonna ask me if I can log into my QuickBooks account. I'm gonna say no. So like, that's where I just always watch these things is huge. Jared, I know you got some stuff on this.
So I think a couple things with agents, which can be a lot of fun. Ray actually had a great example that we were talking before we got started. He had somebody that's a friend of his that has summarized all of his kids' schoolwork that comes out from the school each day, right? It essentially creates a list for him. That is a great use case that's very practical and simple that allows them to say, all right, I've just summarized everything that my child needs to do, so when I get home, I know that this is due today, this is behind, and here's what we're expecting to have tomorrow, so we can plan around it. That's something that I think anyone could probably set up with a little bit of help from ChatGPT or Claude. But you can also do that within your business, right? You can set it up to have it summarize your emails each morning or start to box out what is spam, who's doing cold outreach to you to try to sell you who knows what, and what are the things you actually need to respond to. Maybe they came in overnight, maybe they're a day or two delayed, maybe you had recently followed up with them, said, hey, I'll follow back up soon, helping you just stay a little bit more organized. So from a business efficiency standpoint, it positions you to be a couple steps ahead of what maybe you would have been otherwise. So those are a couple of good examples, I think, of like Claude Cowork. You can get far more complex and have it run daily jobs and systems. Maybe you have budgetary reports that you have to go through, you have to analyze, and you have to work through. You can do that. It'll work within Excel files or CSV files, or maybe one of your systems, depending on what your systems look like. I think where you can take that a step further is maybe you have a bunch of legacy systems across your business or your organization, and it's how do you start to pull those together. Now, I think there's a couple things to factor in. One being how much information you want to give it, you're willing to give it. Should you give it that information? The second piece is if you don't give it good data to start, it's not going to matter. It's going to do a terrible job. It's no different than if you have a blank spreadsheet, a bad spreadsheet. Like if you can't use good data to start, you're not going to get a good result. So that is certainly a factor with everything you do.
And he had a great point with you really have the data side of things. When we first started playing with AI, I just went in and tried to break everything. Like literally, I was like, I'm gonna go figure it out, just go with it. What we found now, thanks to Jared, which is the game plan, we do, so before it was, we would just start building, right? Like out the box. Now we do like 75% of the work just planning. Literally 75% of it, the whole thing is planning, and then we bring it into AI. That's been the crazy differentiator with all of this. So just really thinking through that, that goes a long way. Okay, All right, so again, this is just really high overview. Agents, you're given a job to complete on its own, CRM tools built into the system, already running your business, and then chat, which is what you guys are all used to already, is using that chat function for questions. Okay, so we're gonna talk a little bit more about agents. So with agents, again, we're kind of beating a dead horse with this and just going through the same thing, but the main thing I want you guys to think about with agents is what are you guys doing on a weekly, daily, monthly basis that you could offload, right? But I think Jared said it perfectly. Make sure that it's data that you're okay with giving it to these things. But some of the things that you could do, so what it is AI is given a job, not a question. So basically, you're not necessarily going into it anymore to ask questions of itself. You can, it'll communicate with you, but now you can say, hey, I've got this browser open, go into this browser and make those adjustments. And it does it. Like for instance, when we build websites now, I used to have to manually go through all 50 pages to do it, right? Now we build the 80% template, or like the design, right? Get it ready to go. We did it the other day, and we were able to add 50 pages when I went home for the day. Because like I built it, I planned it out, got it ready to go, and that's what you guys can do all your business. I dropped it into Claude Cowork, and then I went home for the day. I came back the next morning, and 50 pages were done. And it was all based off what I already built, right? So that's the big thing. Remember how you were saying design with AI is like, if you give it the thing to start, it's gonna be like, you wanna build your own stuff and then have it come out at the end. Does that make sense? Do you guys understand where we're going at with agents? So basically, agents are autonomous. Think of it as an employee. We like to think of it as like a junior employee. It's not a, because like it is so slow. That's what you'll notice too, is it like clicks and you can like watch it, but it's pretty slow. Okay, 78% of customers, okay, and so this is specifically when it comes to the lead side of things. So when we're talking agents, again, an agent to respond to your customers, or that first kind of pain point. 78% of customers buy from the first business that responds, right? It makes sense, right? Like you get a quote, you reach out, 78% of customers go with that business. 100% more likely to reach lead responding in 5 minutes versus 30. Yep. And then the average business actually responds in 42 hours. So just by you guys having that automatic chat widget, you're responding back to them, and then you can get that lead quicker. Again, these are things that you definitely want to look at. This one is more grouping into the agent side of things, but you can actually, chat widgets will do this, the CRM tools will do this, but making sure that you're getting that automatic lead back to, like the follow-up to the customer's page. Jared, do you have any updates on that? Nothing crazy. Okay, the big thing is the gap is the opportunity. The cool thing is your competitors are not doing it, which is great. It's a great thing for you guys to do. So now just going in and giving those customers something that they can tangibly hold, feel, and see is huge. Because back in the day, if I were to do a form submission, I'd be like, okay, fill out an inquiry, give me your email, your name, your phone number, right? Nobody wants to give your email or phone number anymore because everybody knows it's spam. A lot of times it's spam. So you're having to give them something actionable. So that's why a quick response time gives them that, but then also, I'll even encourage you guys down the line, when you're doing lead submission stuff, what can you tangibly give them if they're doing a lead side of things? So like for instance, Mark, like you could do like an instant quote for like if they described like what type of phone services they wanted and the amount of clients or amount of team members and stuff like that, boom, they've got a 15% range of a quote, what they could have versus if they went elsewhere and then they waited 42 hours to get a response. So that's what we're trying to do here, right? It's just what can you do? Tanya, you could literally have it to where they go through and do an interactive thing to describe what services they have, and then based off that, it calculates the price, right? So again, we're giving them the response as quickly as we can, right? That's gonna be the big thing with all of these. Okay, so these are different ways that you can use agents across your business. For sales, a website chat agent that qualifies leads and books the meetings before a rep ever picks up the phone. I do want to say, this is amazing. We have this set up on several of our clients, and it cuts down so much spam. You guys know you get those calls all the time from, here, Google my business profile, it's not listed. And then it's like doing that constantly. This is a great way to get through that. We actually had a sign shop as well out of Chesterfield that was getting just bombarded with like random leads. So it'd be like name, email, phone number, just randomness, right? So then we added this to where they have to now qualify themselves before they can even submit the lead. So there's no more spam, there's no more nothing. It's like they have to have a budget over $1,000 to even start this discussion. It's kind of how we started. Okay. For operations, agent assembles your end of month numbers, flags anything unusual, and drafts the summary before you had coffee. This is where we come in, we're talking about the scheduling side of things. Remember, like I said, monthly it goes through and does it. I have a 9 a.m. one that every morning it does this exact thing. Goes through all of our stuff, goes through my emails, drafts emails, gets things ready to go, and I can come in at 9 a.m. and go done and ready to go. So just think about those things that annoy you every day. Like, I don't know about you, but I just started thinking, and Jared helped me big time with this, but like, what am I doing every day? What am I doing? What have I done more than one time this month? Automate it. There's no reason to do it again. Marketing. An agent monitors your reviews, drafts a thoughtful response. Not just remember this like a workflow, so it just automatically does it. It's a thoughtful response to each one of the for your approval and request new reviews after every finished job. So again, these are just some areas that you can use agents in. Do you guys have any questions with these or any other use cases that you guys are curious about?
It really sounds like what you've said is dead on. Like, you got to plan this out in advance.
Yeah, that's.
And whether you're in the government, whether you got your business, because we're fighting with this too. It's like, what do we want the thing to answer?
Yep.
And what do we want the most help with? And a lot of times I've got to pull myself back and be like, this is what I really need to fix.
Yep.
And a lot of times it can give me answers. I'm just not good at putting it to work for me. And I think that may be for a lot of people. I mean, I don't think I'm abnormal in that. It's just, it's weird asking a computer to do the work for me. But I mean, that's a challenge that I run into every time. But yet when I ask it to do something, it's dead on. A lot of times.
Cherry, you got some?
So I think one of the big advantages right now with AI across everything that we've talked about comes down to the accessibility of it. And it is easily accessible today, where you can pop open your browser, you can get the ChatGPT, you can do a lot with that, right? That alone. But then when you take it a step further and you look at small businesses, organizations, governments, they have a lot of legacy systems, right? Think of the HVAC person that's probably come to your house before, and either they're taking your credit card on a carbon machine, or maybe they have an iPad and the system that they're using just looks very clunky, and they're like, we'll have to like clean it up when we get back to the office. Often that is an experience with small businesses because they have a really outdated system. Same thing with the government, where the systems are not talking to one another. Whereas today, with AI, it actually opens up the field to allow someone to come and say, hey, I can build you an all-in-one system that's going to take care of this, or I can get your systems to talk to each other, creating an experience that becomes very interconnected and allows you to ultimately accomplish a lot more. In those situations, you as either the customer or the employee within the business or the business owner, you don't see the AI. And I think that's fine, because that just what's happening here is the AI is allowing you to get to a spot where you can actually do these things more efficiently, and you don't have to actually interact with it. It may just be supporting the build, the planning, getting it to a spot where you can do a lot more, a lot faster. So when you're thinking about AI, it's not always going to be something that's being used all the time within your system, but it may be helping you get to a spot where you can work systems together, have better systems. We've been a part of building apps for companies that otherwise wouldn't have the access to be able to do that, because traditionally a custom app build for a company is very expensive. Like, minimum is like mid 5 figures, and quickly can get over 6 figures to build a custom application. With AI, that has slashed all those costs in by multiples, by minimum, at least half, if not more, depending on what is being built. Now, there's still a lot of man hours put into, like Ray was talking about, how do I plan and get this right the first time? Because when you go to build an app with AI, often it will build junk if you don't plan accordingly. And that junk can lead to larger business implications, things security, privacy, running the business the way you want. I saw one recently where someone had vibe coded their own app, they deployed it, but a user could go in, they could change something in the URL that would have then changed the price down to $1, but they had the pro subscription or the pro plan, and they would get it for $1 and they could charge it, and they had no idea why that was the case. They ended up having to hire someone to come in and do a review. Well, they didn't put the thought into how do I make sure that users are authenticating, how to make sure that the necessary details are protected along the way. So there's considerations that have to be made when you're doing these things, but the accessibility at the end of the day is much broader than what you probably imagine.
Jared had a good point too, because I am the person with the shiny syndrome, or the shiny object syndrome, where I'll just get super excited about a new AI, and then I'm like telling everybody we gotta change all the systems, and then Jared says, calm down real quick, let's look at the actual processes. But that really absolutely changed the game when we started looking at stuff, because you get excited about AI, and then you're like, okay, let me go try out every AI system, but it's like, what is it doing for your business? Your business is the number one thing. You know your processes, you know your organization, you know what's going on. Take those and put it into that versus the other way around, okay? Next, we're gonna talk about CRM and tools. So again, CRM is a customer relationship management tool. This is again where you make sure that you onboard customers, you got emails, you're basically serving your customers through here. What it is a, sorry, I can't really read it. Oh, AI embedded as a feature inside the system. So what we're talking about in this particular instance is basically the CRM and utilizing AI to go within that system. So I don't want to spend a crazy amount of time through here because it makes perfect sense, right? So it's a CRM that AI is able to go in and make adjustments for you. I know that, that's kind of the big thing. I don't want to go too deep into all the nuances of it because again, it's still got to match your business, right? So like I could come up with all these ideas, but you're like, oh, I want to fit these in. Just focus on what your business does and then how we can integrate it in that way. I would always start with the automatic review follow-up, like doing some of those tools, and then the CRMs a lot of times help with that. So a lot of times what this does is it solves the custom software gap. So basically what you'll notice with any of these CRMs is there's tools, right? Different ones do different things, but with AI, you can actually kind of, like Jared was saying, bring the information together so therefore it doesn't live in a silo anymore. So now everything speaks together, it can look at all the different data points so that you can make decisions proactively instead of reactively. This is something that we've done recently internally, which has been an absolute game changer, saving us hours each week. So therefore we know when alerts are going on for all clients, but it's all built into our CRM system and tools. Right? Do you have anything on that one?
I think a good use case, it's not something that we've gotten to work on together, but there's a couple of states that we have discussions with where they are trying to take a lot of their state-run programs where a user has to go in and fill out a number of different forms. And a lot of times it's duplicate information over and over and over and over. So we're talking with them and they're trying to put together a plan of how do they take a step back and rethink their state-run programs to say, all right, how do I pull in as much of this user's information at one time versus having to do it multiple times, creating a poor user experience, making it very confusing along the way. So from an AI perspective, it's going to ultimately support the build process of what does this new ecosystem look like to help funnel the data to the right areas, also blocking data out along the way because certain data is not going to get passed throughout each state-run program. But then that's also going to be in a spot where, all right, now that we have this data, how can we analyze it to understand what are some of the user trends with it as well? How do we make sure that we are creating a seamless experience along the way. So when you're thinking of what can these tools do, sometimes, again, it's behind the scenes. I keep harping on this. It's behind the scenes you don't notice, where you're not just chatting, chat GPT along the way, but rather it's helping you with the overall ecosystem.
Love it. Does that make sense with everybody? Okay, so these are just some examples of different ways you can use them throughout. A pipeline dashboard that flags deals going cold and drafts the next follow-up for your send. This is for operations, a custom portal where your team and your customers see job statuses, schedules, and documents in real time. Marketing, a reporting dashboard that ties ad spend to the booked revenue and updated itself automatically. So just to give you guys an example, we're doing it's a general contractor portal right now, basically where, and we built it on top of the CRM to where the client's gonna be able to see like the progression of the job duty, and then the general contractor will be able to assign tasks to the client, and then they can go in and manage everything through there. So now you guys know, like when you're working on a project or something, clients will always reach out to see where things are at. Basically, we're building them a dashboard so their clients never have to know where things are at, because they can just go into their dashboard, communicate with the general contractor and stuff like that. That's just an example there.
This example is a great use case where a year and a half ago, for a general contractor to do this, they're probably looking to spend $75,000, $100,000 to put this together, for it to meet their brand, have the automations in there, be able to incorporate all the different tools. For today, this is a fraction of the price, and it allows them to have something where they can pass documents, sign documents, all in one place, having all that data live in one area. Someone can go in, they can see it, and you're not just passing emails back and forth, and then 3 months down the road, like I go back and find that project plan that's somewhere in my email. If you're using Outlook, there's probably no chance you're going to find it, because you can't search Outlook to save your life. And then if you're in Gmail, maybe it deleted it, maybe you archived it, you don't know where you put it. Ultimately, it all lives there. It lives on top of the CRM, so then at the end of the day, that data is housed somewhere, it's structured properly, and it's put in a spot where the business can be successful, and then ultimately identify trends as well with their clients. Understand, we apparently do 30 kitchen renovations in a year, and they all seem to be within this zip code. Well, that can tell you a lot of information really quickly about what's your client base look like, and maybe what your strategy should be for them.
Does that make sense? I want to say this today, mark my words. We are moving into the era of personalized web applications. So these big ones like Constant Contact, MailChimp, HubSpot, stuff like it's so funny to watch, but we're working with a couple clients right now where they've got like 5 different systems and we're bringing it into one. And we're cutting their costs in half. So, but it's a completely personalized experience for them that it was not even fathomable previously. Like it wouldn't have even made monetary sense. But now we can do it. So every single thing that you guys have for yourself can be literally custom built. And it's kind of crazy that literally taking 5 systems into one, and it's a custom built system, and it was half the cost of their monthly thing. So it's just things for you guys to look at and just think of these outdated systems that you guys have that don't talk to each other. This one client we're talking about is like, they've got like builder trends, and then they've got like all these different systems that none of them talk to each other. So we're just building it and then building it all into one. So just things to think about. The personalized web applications are here. Okay, so the chat function. This is the lowest barrier to entry. This is what you guys have all been using, and we can talk through this as well. So again, you're talking directly with the LLM, which is the large language model, which is basically the AI. So the LLM is the one that's behind what you're discussing. So if anyone ever says LLM, large language model, they're just basically talking about AI. Like the LLM is like here, and then chat, Gemini, all them, those are all LLMs, just to give you an example. Because like what we're gonna see too coming up, we've talked about this quite a bit. So right now AI is very accessible, but you guys have noticed the prices are increasing and increasing and increasing and increasing, and It'll be interesting to see if they price consumers out of the market. It'll be interesting to watch. But LLMs are huge because, right, there are thousands of LLMs. Like we know chat, all those, right? But then there are the LLMs that are over here that are cheaper and you can download locally on your own machine and do some crazy stuff with. So I don't need you to go into crazy detail now, but be on the lookout when they raise prices for other LLMs that are cheaper for your business.
Well, I use Manus.
Yep.
And it was making me some designs for a plot of land I'm trying to buy where I want to put things. I didn't realize I had credits. And then I ran out of credits and I couldn't use it anymore, and then I was stuck.
Yeah.
So not only is it priced, but depending on how much you're going to use it, you price stuff out, which is why really planning it out in advance, which is where this is going. If you don't do that, you're going to use your credits and you're going to pay a lot of money.
And it's so much money, and it's like it adds up and it adds up and it adds up. Going back to the usage part is so funny. Where last year we would have our interns doing stuff, right? They were always doing stuff. Now, all of a sudden they hit a usage limit. Go on break.
Yeah.
Go on break. Like literally go on break. Come back when your usage is back. Like we call it the penalty box. So it's like literally our interns, they go into the penalty box all the time because they're just coding all day long. So it's like, we literally, it's to the point where it's almost not efficient to, they have to be using this tool to be working on that capacity. So I'm right there with you. It's definitely something to look at, but just check out LLMs, okay? Like I really want you guys to check that out because what we found is there are other LLMs out there that are equally, they're equivalent to Gemini and some of these tools, but they're pennies on the dollar compared when it comes to usage. So just thinking through that, especially government side of things, because y'all could probably add it up quick. So like by utilizing like your own LLM that's on a local network, you guys could save a lot of money. Just an idea. But does this make sense? Again, you guys have been doing the chat side of things. I did want to talk to you guys briefly. Jared, I'm going to go a little bit on a tangent with prompting. How many of you guys feel comfortable with your prompts? Okay. Yeah, I got it. Like that makes perfect sense, okay? Use AI to prompt AI. Plot twist, right? Literally what I do is like, okay, I've got like 4 windows open. I'm gonna go into ChatGPT or Perplexity. If I'm searching something, I'm going into Perplexity, telling it to give me all of the details about this thing. And then guess what? Give me a prompt so that I can prompt Claude. That's how we do it, okay? They talk to each other. They know how to speak their language. So ask them how to prompt what you're doing. Mm-hmm.
So if you build something like through Manus or Claude and like months down the road, like you have that website built and then you stop paying for it or your account leaves, will it delete that website?
It's gone. But what you'll want to do, so like when you're building those kind of things, get it off of Claude. Get it off of Lovable, get it off of those things and deploy it into its own environment. So therefore you've got it. We use like Netlify for some of those things, but like always, because like these tools are great to build it from, but then like you said, you do that, it goes down. Claude Fable went down, so therefore that messes things up. So always take it off of that environment, put it elsewhere, but then you can have a backup here so that if you need to do updates, do it there. And just literally go into Claude and be like, hey, how do I export this? And it will tell you exactly what to do. And it's very helpful there. You got anything on that? No. Does that make sense? Okay, so and then when you're prompting to get very specific. So like when you're talking to this thing, don't just say, hey, I need a presentation for this. I need a presentation for this that's gonna target this group that's going to do this, and my goal is to do this. And then at the end of it, say, do you understand? And then it's gonna ask you a bunch of questions. And then answer all those questions. And then at the end of that, say, do you understand? Always ask, do you understand? In the beginning we did this, we started going back to it again, but that changed the game with our prompts. Helped tremendously. Another thing that you're gonna wanna do is phases, a phased approach. Because AI, I don't know about you, have you noticed how lazy it is? It's just like us. It really is. Like It's crazy, but basically, always do stuff in phases to where it's like, okay, phase 1 is gonna be this, because then it'll go through, make sure that phase 1 is completed perfectly. Phase 2, do this. You know, doing phases is big, because otherwise it's gonna try to chunk that whole thing at one time, and it's gonna be crappy. Like it just, that's kind of, especially, that's again a Jared thing that taught me big time. Because I'm just like spam, like let's go do it. Jared's like, let's do this. We do phases, we have timelines, and that has like to the point where you can almost one-shot stuff because you planned correctly. That makes sense. Okay, so this is chat for sales, draft proposals, quotes, personalized follow-up emails in your voice and minutes, not hours. Operations, turn messy notes into clean SOPs. Again, Claude Design is great for this. It really is. Like Claude Design, because you build your own design systems in there. You do everything directly through there. Like, don't get me wrong, our designers still touch everything. We don't put anything just AI, but we take it into Claude and then move it over to Canva to where they can make updates, right? And we'll talk about connectors here in just a second as well. Checklist, job descriptions your team can actually use. So again, all this stuff is great. Marketing, batch a month of social posts. Again, getting rid of the in dashes, getting rid of like really, so if you are using social posts, what I would do too, by the way, export all of your past data. All of your past social posts for the last 2 years, put it into here, because then it will look at the performance of those posts. It'll be like, oh, your engagement was really good on this one of the team. Maybe you should do more posts of the team. Oh, you should do this. It literally tells you what's up based off the data. So just scrape that, put it into here if you're going that direction, if that makes sense. And then newsletter forms and brainstorming sessions. So again, the chat is just there for you to kind of ask questions and stuff like that. I still use the chat to figure out how to build my agents. So like just thinking through that goes a long way. Okay, so we're kind of getting down to the end of it here, but I want to talk about just the effort and the ownership of things. Chat is the easiest, agents go next, CRM tools, full built is kind of the most complex, if I would say. You guys are already building in chat, but what I would recommend is, again, try like 2 other LLMs. Just test them out. You know, Claude is my favorite in the world. Like, I'll tell you right now, that thing is nuts. Perplexity's perfect for search and stuff like that. So definitely look at that. Agents, again, co-work. Anything with co-work in it, you guys might have it like county. You guys on Microsoft? So you guys have Copilot and Copilot co-work. I was working with an insurance company the other day. Oh my gosh, we did some crazy stuff because like Copilot is already with your data. So like most of the time it's nothing to, like IT doesn't get upset if you guys use co-work because it's already using your data. So I would check that out like big time because you guys could do some insane stuff with that. But just really just co-work, looking through the things. Claude, $20 a month has a co-work feature. It's the best thing in the world. I'm sorry, like, but we've got a team subscription too, which helps out. So like each team member is $20 a month, but they each have their own usage. So when Aiden goes to the penalty box, Jack doesn't have to go into the penalty box until Jack finishes all his coding for the day. You know, so like just think through that if you guys have multiple teams, and then I mean you guys use Copilot, so you'll be good to go there. But that's the big stuff to kind of think about. And then CRM and tools, again, I would focus on the base level right now. But if you guys want to have further discussions, that's where Jared and I are going to come in, to be honest. That's where we can get really particular.
So, as a business owner, I'm worried about numbers.
Yeah.
Talk me through the safeguards of how I should use AI if I want to put my numbers in there to see how well we're doing as a company.
Yeah. That's gonna be a Jared question right there. Because me, I'm like, yeah, just throw it in there. Yeah, that'd be great.
I mean,
yeah.
It's super important to understand ROI. You know how well we're doing last year, this quarter, and where we're spending our money. And to me, that is the biggest thing to get after as a business owner. I'm scared to death to put my information from QuickBooks and just dump it into a program and say go.
Yeah.
So, you know, what I'm really interested in the most is the marketing side, but really help me as a business. How can I get into the numbers and use this safely to do it the right way?
Two things come to mind. So
Okay.
one, if you're using QuickBooks, there's now like an AI feature within there that can help you with that. I think it's like in a beta test, so it might not be super great. The other one would be if you actually want to put an Excel file or a CSV file into Chat or Claude, whatever chat you're using, take it and remove all your PII data, right? Remove anything that's going to identify the business, yourself, the last 4 digits of your credit card, items like that, right? So you can take a transaction report from your credit card processor, export that, and go in there and say, all right, let's probably remove some of the identifiable information from our customers. Maybe we just change that to a unique identifier, just leave it that way. That'd be fine, right? It's just like a code. Remove, typically it has like the last 4 digits of the credit card and the expiration date. Go ahead and remove those. There's some things where it probably doesn't really matter along the way, but if it's something that you just don't really want on the internet, probably don't put it in there.
Yeah. And then there are safeguards too, like, so for instance, the CRM and the agent side of things, these can be created so that it stores your data. So it's like, it's a secure thing. That's again where Jared comes in with that, and Jack. But there are systems that we can build so that it keeps all your information. Copilot and Gemini, so like those are native with your Google, and Microsoft and stuff like that. So a lot of times it already has all your Google Drive data, all your those things. So personally, and I don't know if I should say this, but I feel a little bit more comfortable putting my data into Gemini because it already has my Google Drive. But
if you're using Microsoft or if you're using Google, like Google Suite, you have Gmail, in your Google Drive you have the Gemini like icon up in the right hand corner. You can use that to chat with it, and it already has access to all the files that are in there, and it's already enabled. So at that point, you might as well go ahead and use it. Same thing with Copilot. If it's in there, you can ask it to analyze the document that you're looking at. So if you're fine with having it on your Google Drive, you can use Gemini.
Yep. And I love all of them, but like Claude is insane. So like if you can get rid of the PII information and then put it into Claude is like, it's crazy. It really is. And to be honest, I'm kind of partial. I like what Anthropic is doing. That's the business behind Claude. ChatGPT's, I don't know if they have a whole lot of integrity. It's kind of weird. They got stuff going on. Okay. The last part is, so these are y'all's first 30 days. Okay, what you guys are gonna do going forward. Pick one task this week you did 3 times last week. Draft it in a free chat tool, a proposal, an email, or an SOP. Okay, or something that you guys are doing written that you can put into the chat tool. Okay, I bet you guys have that thing, and then once you do it, then you'll have it ready to go, and then you can say, hey, just update this real quick. Oh man, that was easy, it did it in 5 seconds. So just the goal for this week is to figure out something you did 3 times last week and do it in chat. Again, we're not talking agents, we're not talking CRM, we're talking chat, okay? Days 8 through 14. Turn on one of the off-the-shelf tools, a missed call, text back from Mark over here, and then a website chat widget and AI already in your CRM, Copilot. Turn something on, because I guarantee you guys are going to come back to your business, your organization, and you're going to go, oh well, man, I already had some of that. Just hit on. Okay, that's what I want you guys to do, is test some of the tools that are already in the systems you guys are in. Tanya, we'll get the chat widget and stuff all ready to go with that. That's the next goal, okay? And I know it's gonna be weird, but just go through your systems and everything has AI in it now. Everything. Like they put everything. Like I saw a toaster the other day that had AI. So just click a button, turn it on, see what works. Again, I do want to preface, maybe do it with information that's not like customer information to start. It's more just like lead side of things, I think that would be the best. Days 15 through 30, delegate one repeatable job to an agent, okay? So this is the co-work section. So lead response or end of month reporting with guided setup. So like, I would do like monthly report on social media, and you can like, it'll just run each month or something like that. So just think about something that you guys are doing on a monthly basis. I bet you there's so many things. Like I said, I was doing audits monthly, I was doing emails, like anything that you have done one time that you're about to do again, look at a co-work section, okay? Just type in co-work, and a lot of times you have the different options. And I'm gonna send you guys this so you can play with it. And you'll have my email, so like, let me know how you know, how it goes. Like if you get stuck here, just let me know. We can help too, like we got you. And then repeat it. So this was the best thing. Jared, he's been my coach now for 4 years. A couple of years ago, he looked at me and we were doing like a stress test kind of thing. And I wear this ring so I can look at my different stress levels. What Jared did was kind of a game changer to me. I looked at my different stress levels and literally did this with them. If I was stressing, I automated it. So I don't have to do it anymore. So just, I want you guys to think about those things that you wake up and you just hate doing on a daily basis. Like I love talking to people. I love doing this. I hate going and like doing like the analytics. Like I like the analytics, but I don't like having to go through and do it. So I automated it. So just think about the things that irritate the crap out of you every day that you can just do, you know? And I bet you there's a lot. There's a lot. So just think through those things. Again, just the way that I look at it is, oh, I did this last week. I'm about to do it again. No, future me is gonna thank me when I automate this task, okay? Does that make sense? Sweet. So that's kind of what we've got. Just to kind of give you guys something that we are working on, Jared and I, we're doing a workshop. So we're doing a workshop coming up where we're gonna build an agent with you guys, like literally an autonomous agent that runs itself and does everything. And then also we're gonna do an everyday AI with ChatGPT to learn prompting and kind of things like that. So we'll send out some more information as we kind of build this out. But do you guys have any questions, anything I didn't get to that you guys wanna kind of game plan out? That's good. Yeah, and we'll send this out too if you guys have any questions. But the key takeaways today, right? LLMs, there's a bunch of them, right? Do not get pigeonholed or do not do what I do with the shiny object. Take a look at your business, your operations, and what ultimately the goal is, because it can be done now. So just take that walk. I love taking a walk to think about when Haley and I got married, we had a wedding planner that kept doing this thing. He would go, okay, and then what? And then what? And then what? So like think about that from your aspect, but then also your consumer aspect. So they came to your site, and then what? They bought a cheesecake, and then what? How do we get them next? You know, do we send an email? Do we send an automatic text message? Do we send a thank you 2 weeks later? Do we say, hey, there's a special coming up? You know, like when it comes to the government side of things, how do you make the onboarding process of some of the forms easier? How do you make, my dad works at the rec department, so I always bug him like, hey, you guys need a chat widget for like people signing up for like sports and stuff. Like, hey, I want to sign up my kid, and then it just does like a conversation to sign them up. You know, like there's so many ways, but I want you guys just really thinking, what is out there? You know, I go to Apple, go to like these big companies, because a lot of times they're doing some of these things already. And back in the day, we would have been like Jared was saying, oh, well, that's gonna be really expensive. Now, we can do it. Everybody can do it. Like it's nothing crazy. So.
Do you think, like, when you guys research, do you think there's gonna be any restrictions on this, like, in the future? Like, what do you think's gonna happen, because it is so easy and accessible? Like,
Well, did you see what happened with Fable?
no.
So Claude Fable came out, and well, actually before that, Mythos came out, and the government shut down Mythos because it could crack banks. Yeah, they shut it down. They took care of it. They dropped Fable, and then they took it back, and then they just added it back again. So, I mean, I'm a conspiracy theorist. I don't. I don't really trust a whole lot of what they've got going on. That's why I think the LLMs are big, because we got to own our own LLMs instead of letting them drag us along. Jared will probably have a lot more professional take on it.
Certainly a point where you have to regulate things. I don't think that the current federal administration knows how to regulate AI. I don't think that probably any administration probably knows how to regulate AI, regardless of the political party. But there'll certainly be a point where it comes to that. In typical government fashion, though, something will probably have to happen first before the regulation will come. But I don't know what that will look like. And it'll probably be more on the business level for like Anthropic or OpenAI versus the consumer. Now, some of those things will get passed down to the consumer, whether that's the model that you're going to use becomes more throttled, it becomes more expensive, something in there. Yeah.
So I guess just like the things that you're automating, you just want to make sure that you can do it yourself. And
Yep.
so it's just like kind of putting those like repetitive tasks on automation, but just
Yeah.
knowing how to do it in case something.
Yeah, and then just having a backup. Like I always, just in case. Like I imagine Jack gets so tired of me. I'm like, okay, well, what happens if I get hit by a bus? Okay, well, what happens if, like what happens? Like what? And so that's why I think LLMs, like, and having the multitude of them is our safeguard to them coming down and changing things, right? Because then you can pick and choose what you want. Because like, for instance, when ChatGPT did something wonky, everyone moved to Anthropic, and then that changed the game because it's a private entity. So I would just really just keep the pulse on it and have your fingers in multiple AI, I would say. But then check out the different LLMs, because that's going to be huge. Jack's been talking about that for quite some time. Just to give you an example, we're running like a AI voice agent, and one of the models, it was going to cost us 86 cents cost per minute, but the other model cost us 2 cents. See what I'm saying? So that's where you got to think through these things, because that goes to the next level. But just if you guys have any questions with like the pricing of those things, just let me know as well. So that's kind of the main stuff. Any other questions with kind of? Okay, Jared, you got anything? Yeah, this is sweet. Thank you guys so much for coming in general. And then any questions you have, we're gonna send this out. John, I'll send this over to you so you can send it out to everybody. If you guys need anything, let us know. Jared and I are working on these 2 workshops. We're accepting 7 people to, we're gonna start out with two of each. We're gonna do 7, 7, 7, and 7 pretty much, because we've got 8 spots in my office. Eventually we're gonna get it bigger and bigger, but right now that's what we're gonna focus on. With the build an agent, this is a complete agent. We're gonna do it in a 4-hour workshop to where you guys will walk out the door that day with an agent ready to go. We are going to put in applications, if that's okay with these, because I don't want somebody to go, I got this crazy idea, and then we can't get it done in 4 hours. So like basically what we'll do is talk with you guys through those kind of things, but these are the different things that we're gonna work on. And then eventually the 3rd one we're working on is a workshop where we'll build out a full web app with you. So like for instance, Randy, we're gonna do a flooring estimator. So like, just to give you guys an example of kind of some of the things that we can do. Sounds good. I think we're good. Thank you guys so much. This is awesome. And just, yeah, this is awesome. Thank you so much.